Hey guys, happy Thursday. I have Brandon with me this week on Market Watch. We want to update you on everything surrounding interest rates right now and then also touch on the NAR.
When you look at me, does that mean it's my turn to talk?
Q.
Starting with the NAR, we're still getting an idea how everything is shaking out. One of the concerns we had early on was for a conventional loan, 3% to 9.99%, that the buyer can only get 3% concessions. And we didn't know if that was how that was gonna affect commissions. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac since then have come out with clarity and said that it is customary that a buyer's agent get paid up to 3% commissions. So case in point, even in a scenario where the seller concessions are 3%, the buyer can get concessions up to 3%, and the buyer's agent can get concessions up to 3%.
Yeah. And same thing if they do more than 3% down. So I know the concessions go up depending on down payment amount. So I think the main bullet point would just be that if this buyer is paying or the seller is paying the buyer agent commission, it's not included in the concessions.
That's right.
Point blank.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's a win for us.
Yes, very much a win. Touching on interest rates, you guys may be fully aware, but interest rates have ticked back up, especially over the past 2 weeks or so, due to a few different reasons. One of the big ones being we had back-to-back higher inflation readings. So anytime inflation goes up, interest rates follow. It's going to be really tough to hit the Fed's goal of 2% because we have a few factors that are really pushing up interest rates. One of them being gas prices. Everything going on with Iraq and Iran, that is pushing gas prices up, which is inflationary because we're paying more for gas. A couple other of the big ones was auto insurance, which I'm sure we're all feeling. 22% year over year auto insurance has increased. And then the other big one was shelter, how much it costs to rent or owner's equivalent rent, how much it would cost an owner to rent out their home. So
yeah, I mean, we've
big
just
ones.
kind of woken up to a more expensive world. We've all seen this in several different instances, whether it's what we're buying or, just the cost of so many things. And all of these things are inflationary. The numbers have come down substantially. A year and a half ago, inflation was running at 9.25. Today, depending on what measure of inflation, between 2.8 and 3.3. To Amanda's point, the Fed's goal is 2%. We probably don't get there. And so if the Fed's goal is 2% and we're probably not going to get there, then how do interest rates come down? And the answer to that is employment. The Feds have a dual mandate of max employment and price stability. Their job is to keep prices as stable as they can. They can't affect things like, global conflicts, and when the cost of oil goes up, it's inflationary. But what they can control to a certain extent is employment and inflation. At some point, starts to affect employment, and when that happens, the Feds have to start lowering interest rates. That is still expected this year. The Fed's rate cuts they're expected to be a little bit less than what they originally anticipated. One thing that gets a little bit confusing, and we were in a closed door meeting yesterday with some executives at VIP, is the margin between the Fed's fund rate and what banks charge for interest rates is going to be getting smaller. So even in this world where the Feds don't lower interest rates later this year, it is anticipated in about 6 months that interest rates get down to 6.5%, which is huge. We've been at 6.5% twice, I think last January, and then just for a short amount of time earlier this year. And each time, the phone starts ringing a lot more, buyers start coming off the fence. So we will see that. And then as the Feds actually do start lowering interest rates, we'll get it closer to 6 and in the 5s. So not all bad news. And honestly, as difficult as these conversations were last year with your buyers, 6.75 to 7.25, there's an expectation now. That's just what interest rates are at. And while affordability can still be a little bit difficult, the conversations are easy. And you guys know this. As soon as you have a buyer that is ready to buy, it's a great market to go out there and find them a house, get some concessions. And so that's it. Anything else?
Nope. The biggest obstacle with rates going up was just that shock factor. And so that's definitely gone. People know that rates are higher and they're able to wrap their head around it. So We've been here before and we'll just maneuver through it this
That's
time
right.
around. Yeah.
Have a great weekend.